Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a moment. Please note that we will be recording today's meeting. Okay. I'm just going to wait one more moment. We've got, looks like most people are in, or are they still rolling in, Sharmeen?
I don't see anyone waiting yet, so
Okay.
I am expecting a few more people, but maybe they can join whenever they're here.
Okay, well, I'll get started with just a little bit of an overview. So welcome, everyone. So excited to have you join us today. Just before we get officially started, I've just got a few quick logistics to go over. So as audience members, you have been put on mute for the webinar, but if you'd like to ask a question, please put it in the chat. So we have Sharmeen, my colleague, who is going to be helping us with technology and with our chat, and you'll find the chat box at the top menu of your screen. We're going to do our best to address any questions during the presentation, or we'll answer them during the Q&A portion at the end of the session if time permits. For those of you that want to use closed captioning, on the menu bar at the top right of your screen, you can click on the three dots with the word More under it, and then you can click Language and Speech, and then turn on Live Captions. If you lose connection at any time, just please re-enter the webinar using the link and we'll admit you to the webinar. Fingers crossed that nothing happens. We have no storms today that I'm aware of, so hopefully everybody's power is good and we can continue. Any questions before we proceed, just please put them in the chat. All right, I'm going to get started officially then. So welcome so much to Supporting with Access to Benefits. I'm really excited to talk to you today about how you can help Canadians on a low income access benefits and practice using the Benefits Wayfinder together. We've got a good sized group today, so it's great to know that so many of you are interested in helping people to access the benefits that they're entitled to. Before we move on, everybody hopefully can hear us okay. I just saw that the ASL interpreter, I did not get notice about that. My sincere apologies. I don't know. So we do have some people from Silent Voice, which are neighbors of ours at in the building at Prosper Canada. And so my apologies. I did not see that in the registration, and so we don't have an ASL interpreter today. We do have this recorded with an ASL interpreter on our website, the exact same presentation, which we can provide you a link to, and we can make sure that our next one has the ASL interpreter. So my apology, Megan, I'm realizing we did not see that in time. So my sincere apologies. All right, I'm going to continue, and we'll certainly circle back with that, and we can make sure that we have that for the next. All right. So in case of internet connections, as I mentioned, if you get kicked out, please try logging in again, and we'll admit you shortly. And we'll also provide a copy of all the handouts from this session, so all of that will be provided to you. So just a little bit about Prosper Canada. It's a national charity, and we are dedicated to expanding economic opportunity for Canadians living in poverty. And we do that through program and policy innovation. And so we are one of Canada's leading national champion of financial empowerment. We work with government, we work with business and community partners to develop and promote financial policies, programs, and resources that transform lives and foster the prosperity of all Canadians. So what we do is we help service systems and organizations in all sectors to build proven financial empowerment approaches into their businesses in ways that are sustainable, help them to achieve their goals, and tangibly increase the financial well-being of low-income people that they serve. So I want to start today with a land acknowledgement, and we just want to also encourage you that if you're calling in from other areas, to please share in the chat where you're calling in from and share a land acknowledgement if you have one. So we will begin by acknowledging that we are joining you from Toronto, which is situated upon traditional territories. The territories include the Wendat, Anishtabek Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Métis Nation. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. So once again, we encourage you to make your own acknowledgements in the chat if you're calling in from other areas. So my name is Jenny Bolton, and I'll be your facilitator for this session. And again, I thank my colleague Sharmeen Beg for joining us today and providing technical support. So as I mentioned, we have a big group today. So before we get started, let's get to know each other. If you could please write in the chat. Yes.
Sorry, Jenny, I'm just going to interject. May we please just remind how to turn on closed captioning? If you could
Absolutely.
verbalize that, please, that would be great.
So what you want to do is for closed captioning, you go to the top right menu bar, and there should be 3 dots with the word more under it. And then you'll select language and speech, and then you can turn on live captions, and that should provide you with closed captioning. Okay. Hopefully that will help. Thank you, Sharmeen, for supporting everyone. And once again, our sincere apologies. It didn't notify me, and I did not receive that, but I know I'm sure you've put it in there. So, all right. So what we would like to do is get a sense of who's joining us today. If you could provide your name and maybe the organization that we work for, we'll just get a little bit of a sense of who's here today. You can just put that into the chat. Great. So we've got people from Peel Region, OW, from the Vita Center. Thank you. Welcome, Christine, Maria, Susan. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to get a sense of where people are from so we can kind of tailor a little bit some of our conversation. Vancouver Island, wow, from Settlement Services, Silent Voice, again, welcome. Grand Prairie, York Region. Oh, Keys, I know Keys and Kingston. Some Ottawa, Consolidated Credit. Wow, a really great representation of all different, not only communities across Canada, but different people that you serve. So that's just wonderful. And it shows you that this tool can be used in so many contexts. So we hope that you learn a lot today and find some value in how you can share this with the people that you serve. All right. So what I'm going to do is share a little bit about what we're doing today. The purpose, of course, is to learn and practice the skills to support Canadians living on a low income to access benefits. And what this starts with is understanding your role. So how can you provide support? It also includes important skills like knowing how to start the conversation about benefits. That can be one of the hardest parts. And we're going to review some tips for using the Benefits Wayfinder. And what's going to be fun is giving you some time to explore the tool using some personas. So we really want this to be hands-on today. And then finally, we're going to provide you with some additional resources and training available to you. Here's what you can expect from today. We're going to use a variety of different learning formats. We're going to give you a chance to engage with the content, and some of the activities will be completed together. So we've tried to make this really interactive today as a large group, but also as individuals. You'll be able to go and try the Benefits Wayfinder. and how you can integrate it into money conversations. We also hope that you take some opportunity to reflect on your own personal experiences with money. And then, of course, the personas will do some practice activities and it'll help it sort of come to life. And we really want to ensure that this session is safe, inclusive, and fun. So please treat our time together with respect. Any other questions before we move on? Charmaine, is there anything else in the chat that we need to address? Good to go? All right, fantastic. All right. So let's approach the content in today's workshop knowing that the experiences, the values, the emotions around money differ widely from person to person. So money can be a very sensitive topic. And we will remember this as we work together today and also when we work with individuals in our community. So we'll start by exploring your role in helping the individuals that you work with access the benefits that they're entitled to, but potentially not receiving. So why does this matter? Why does access to benefit support matter? I want you to take a moment and I want you to think about why access to benefits matters in your own lives. What impact do benefits have? If you have a child with a disability, you know that benefits matter. If you're caring for an aging parent, or you're saving for a child's education, or you're having difficulty paying your bills, benefits definitely matter. Now, I want you to think about someone living on a very low income. What impact can benefits have on an individual or family living on a low income? So in a moment, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to go into Mentimeter. Mentimeter is a fun tool that will give us an opportunity to share some of our responses. So just give me a moment. What you can do in order to access Mentimeter is you can see that there's a QR code on the top of this slide, and you can use your phone to access that. You'll also be able to go to menti.com. We can put that, I'll put that in the chat. And let me just show you how to get there. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. All right, I'm going to share Mentimeter. Can you see Mentimeter? Awesome. Sorry, I had too many screens open today. All right, so if you could share with us, and again, you can join us, there it is at the top. You can also join using menti.com and use the code 64678095. And yeah, think about exactly, you got it, things like shelter and food and dignity, and I'm seeing some other great things. I got to move my computer to see housing stability. Yeah, great. I mean, it's all these things and more. You know, it's really contributing to their financial well-being and it's making a really big impact on their lives. So what are the kinds of things? What are the kinds of things? Let's see what else people have to share. Empowerment. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Lower stress, financial health, helping to make ends meet, overall well-being. Absolutely. All of these things are really, really important. Good. Keep them coming. These look great. Participation. Yeah, being able to participate more in things. Absolutely. Stability, autonomy. These are awesome. Great words. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, I'm going to go back to our presentation and we'll share these slides back with everybody afterwards as well. All right. So just a quick overview. So highlighting some of the most important aspects of access to benefits. So, you know, if you receive benefit navigation support, you're going to be more likely to access all the benefits that you're eligible for. So by increasing an individual's access to benefits, you as a frontline service provider, you're playing a really key role in helping them to increase their income. Receiving benefits, as you know, can improve a person's financial well-being and really empower them. It's going to help them take control of their own financial situation. And increased benefits can also improve their overall quality of life. And this is because the stresses of living in poverty can have an impact on all areas of life. So how can you, if you are frontline staff, or maybe your organization has individuals that are serving individuals, how can frontline staff support individuals to access benefits? Well, we're going to go over some of these things today. So it's access to benefits, as you know, it's a vital part of poverty reduction. So by integrating access to benefits into existing programs such as social assistance, employment, housing, healthcare, and settlement, the outcomes of these programs are going to be improved. I just want to share a really quick story today. Just before this webinar, I had a friend of mine from I've known her since kindergarten, and she texted me because she works at CAMH, and she says, "Is this your tool? Is this Prosper Canada's tool? Somebody just demonstrated this in a staff meeting that they had, and they work with those youth who are experiencing mental health." And so for me, that was really exciting to hear that people are out there talking about it and using it within things like healthcare and settlement and other things. So it can really improve the outcomes of those kinds of programs because it's helping to improve the lives of those individuals that they're serving. So as a frontline worker, there's three elements to supporting individuals with accessing benefits. And the first one is just to identify an individual's eligibility for this, all right? So many people living on low income, they're not even aware that there are benefits that they could be receiving, okay? Others might know about the benefits, but they don't believe they're eligible. They think, oh, it's probably not for me. And so to identify eligibility, you can ask if an individual has heard about certain benefits, or you can use the benefits Wayfinder to identify potential benefits that they're eligible for. The second step to supporting individuals is to guide them through the application process. So although the process must be led by the individual, right, you can help support their application. So you can maybe make an action plan with them, help create a to-do list for their application, or just maybe keep them on track with check-in meetings, or help them with practical needs like completing the application, navigating online tools, or even printing or mailing the benefit applications in. Lastly, you can support an individual to access benefits by referring them to additional support as required. So remember, you're not required to have all the answers, okay? It's totally okay and really important to refer individuals to other resources if their needs go beyond your comfort level or knowledge. So in these cases, it's important to have a list of trustworthy organizations and resources to refer to. So in this webinar today, we're going to be focusing on the first element, so determining a participant's eligibility and getting them started on their benefits journey. All right, so before I keep going, are there any other questions? Is there anything else in the chat, Shireen, that I need to know about? All right, awesome. Okay, and for those who don't work in a role that provides direct financial assistance to participants, you might be wondering, how do I introduce access to benefits for the people I work with? So we're going to share a little bit about how we can get that conversation started. All right, so here goes. So first, let's recognize that there are many barriers facing the communities we work with. So many people living on a low income also have experienced some other form of financial or other trauma, which can lead to additional barriers to accessing benefits, information, and support. So a trauma-informed approach recognizes the impact that trauma can have on vulnerable individuals. So it really aims to empower them to create conditions of emotional and personal safety. I'm sure that most of you are very aware of trauma-informed approach in the work that you do. So we'll just do a very quick overview of the 5 principles. So the first, of course, is safety, right? It's really important to create a physically and emotionally safe environment. And one way to do this is to hold conversations in a private area. The second principle is to support autonomy and choice. So for example, by ensuring the individual knows that they're in control of all the decisions in the benefits process, right? Giving them choice. The third principle is to create collaborative relationships where the individual has a significant role in how the process unfolds. So for example, the individual chooses how and when to search and apply for benefits while you provide the tools to support action. Next is to establish trust and boundaries. One way you can do this is by reassuring the individual that their information will be kept confidential. Another is reminding them that they can stop the meeting or benefits application process at any time if they choose. And finally, it's important to use a strength and empowerment focused approach. So acknowledging and validating participants' feelings, experiences, values, and decisions is key. Okay, and just continue to put any questions that you have in the chat. All right, so keeping that trauma-informed approach in mind, let's look at how to start a benefits conversation. The first step is to determine whether a benefits conversation would be useful for a community member. So we have identified 3 screening questions that can help, and they are: have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? Have you recently experienced or are you coming up to a big life change? Or 3, do you have enough money to make ends meet? So a participant's responses to these screening questions will indicate whether or not the benefits Wayfinder and exploring benefits would be worthwhile. So for example, if they've not filed their taxes, there might be benefits that they're missing out on, and they might not even know about them. In question 2, if they're coming up to a big life change, so for example, having a baby or retiring or losing a job, there again may be benefits that they're eligible for. And finally, question 3, if they don't have enough money to make ends meet, there are benefits they may qualify for. On the other hand, if they filed their taxes and they're not experiencing a life change and they have enough money to make ends meet, it's a lot less likely that they'll find helpful benefits when using this tool. So in that case, you might want to just kind of frame it as a checkout. Let's just make sure that you're receiving everything they can. So it's a good learning opportunity. All right, so now let's talk about how we can use these screening questions in different conversations. So while every situation and every individual is unique, there's 3 common conversation pathways in which we can introduce and discuss benefits. So the first generally takes place on the job. So you're in a public situation, and when you're having a discussion with a community member who's seeking support because they're in a financially vulnerable situation. So for example, you might be working at a food bank, doing screening questions, maybe providing formula to a new mom. Maybe you're providing employment and training supports to a newcomer or in conversation with someone at a drop-in center. So the person did not come in prepared for a financial conversation. The second, pathway 2, takes place during a private one-on-one scheduled money conversation. And the third takes place in a related field. So for example, you might be in healthcare, or maybe you're speaking to someone who's incarcerated, or you're providing housing services. So you're in a one-on-one private meeting, but the person didn't come in for the purpose of discussing money. So I'm going to do another quick poll. I'm really curious as to what type of pathway that you would most likely find yourself in. It might be more than one, and that's okay. But just think about your own work context and which pathway you would most likely find yourself in. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. And I'm going to go back to our Mentimeter. Too many screens open. There we go. And let's move it to the next one. There we go. If you could share with us which pathway you would most likely find yourself in. It just gives me a sense of the type of environments that you're working in. So it's looking like most people are public on the job, right? So you're not having those financial conversations, but you are encountering people who you think, probably living on a low income, could probably use a little bit of assistance with their income. And so a benefits conversation would be worthwhile. Or we're in the one-on-one, lots of maybe that's winning now, one-on-one meeting in a related field. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Good stuff. It gives me a sense of how we're working with people in our communities. All right, I'm going to go back to our presentation. All right. So now we're going to go through these different scenarios. And the first one is you are in a public place, so you need to be sensitive and respect people's privacy. So you're going to want to ask closed questions, and you want to leave the more detailed discussions to when you can set up a one-on-one meeting. So you might want to open the conversation with something like, I'd like to ask a few questions to identify other ways that we might be able to help. Would you be willing to answer a few questions? Okay, and so then if willing, You can ask the screening questions again, right? So those questions are, have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? Have you recently experienced, or are you coming up to a big life change? And of course, the third is, do you have enough money to make ends meet? So if it's appropriate, you can then ask if they would be interested in exploring benefits. And if they're interested, then you would set up a dedicated one-on-one meeting. So here's some additional type of closed-ended questions that you could ask. So it might be, would you be interested in exploring whether you might be eligible for any benefits to help increase your income? Did you know there are benefits that might be able to help? Have you explored the possibility of getting some benefits to increase your income? If not, would you like some support in exploring that possibility? Or I know about some resources that may help you find out if you could be receiving benefits. Would you be interested in learning about that? Right? And then you could set up that conversation. Okay, so it's asking closed-ended questions to respect the privacy. In pathway 2, you're already talking about finances and you're already in a one-on-one meeting. So you can ask the screening questions as part of the broader financial conversation. Now, because you're in this one-on-one private meeting, you can consider asking more open-ended questions about improving their financial situation or increasing income. You can ask if the participant identifies a need for increased income and ask if they're interested in checking for benefits. And then you can proceed based on the participant's interest. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples. And of course, I encourage you would tailor these, of course, to your own style and your own context, but this just gives you a few different ideas. So there's some examples are what are some things that you could possibly help your financial situation right now? So just getting them to kind of brainstorm and think about this. Have you considered any ways to increase your income? What ideas do you have to improve your financial situation? And what steps have you already taken to improve your financial situation and increase your income? Okay. And then the third pathway you may find yourself in is you're working in a related field. So maybe settlement or healthcare, and you're in a one-on-one meeting, so it is private. So again, you can ask open-ended questions and you can identify the individual stressors that that person might be experiencing. You can see if there's a need for increased income, and then you can share that there might be benefits that can help. And then if interested, you can proceed with the screening questions about taxes, about changes in their life and whether they have enough money. All right. And then if it makes sense to explore further, you can set up a dedicated meeting to do so. Okay. So again, just a few examples of types of questions that you could ask. The first one is, what's causing you the most stress right now? Let's dig a little deeper, right? Let's find out what's stressing you. What are you most worried about? And what are some of your short-term money goals? Okay, so before we move on to sort of the next step and we start to do a little bit of a demo, just again, want to encourage you to please, if you have any questions, to ask them in the chat. So just a quick review and some tips for all the pathways. It's just really important that you set realistic expectations and avoid saying things like you will probably be eligible for. We had a partner share a story. Well, they used to have one of their staff would be sitting at a tax clinic and would say, come on over, I got free money, come check out the benefits of Wayfinder. And then they kind of went, it's not really a great approach, right? Because we're setting up the expectations that are maybe not realistic. It's not necessarily going to be for everyone. Not everybody's going to find benefits that they're eligible for. So you've just got to really make sure that you keep it realistic and keep the expectations low. Like you want to make sure that they're going to find the experience positive. So to be productive, the process should be led by the individual. Okay, that's also really important. So you can get the conversation started about access to benefits, but you want to then take the individual's lead. If they indicate that they're interested, then you can continue on. And just remember that your role is to support the process, right? So you're never going to be directly advising or pressuring an individual to consider benefits. It's really just showing them the tool and helping them to navigate and having those conversations. Okay. So now that we've looked at the different pathways for introducing a benefits conversation, let's get to the next part, which is how to actually use the benefits wayfinder. So kind of the part you've probably all been waiting for. here it goes. So we're going to talk about how to navigate the benefits Wayfinder. Some of you might have taken the online course or participated in a public demo, so you might be already familiar with the tool. So I'm not going to go as in-depth as I would if we were doing a demo of the tool. We're going to just take some time now to demonstrate the different ways it can be used in money conversations. And if you want further detail on how to use the tool, we do have previously recorded webinars that do go into greater detail. We can also do a private demo for staff. We're always happy to do that for organizations that are interested. So there's lots of ways that you can learn more. So a quick introduction. So the Benefits Wayfinder, it's a tool that helps individuals to identify and apply for the benefits that they're eligible for. And how it works is it provides a list of personalized benefits that an individual may be eligible for based on their circumstances. So the users can view a particular benefit's eligibility. It can show you all the ID requirements, the application process, and more. And so it's all organized in what's called a dashboard. And for those that are using it, the ones that are most likely to discover new benefits are those living on a low income, newcomers to Canada, someone approaching or experiencing a major life event, someone who's never filed taxes before, or for those who are not receiving common benefits. So those are the ones who are going to find the most impact. Okay. So I'm going to provide you with a walkthrough of the Benefits Wayfinder in just a moment, and then you're going to have a chance to navigate through your own through your own persona that we'll provide to you. But I encourage you, you're also welcome to explore it based on the types of clients that you serve. So just please ask any questions as we go along in the chat, and Sharmeen will help support. I do want to acknowledge, though, that we are not benefit experts. Sometimes we get some very complex questions in the chat about benefits, which doesn't mean we can't circle back and maybe try and dig and find the answer for you, because we do have access to some that do know benefits in depth, but we're more experts on the tool and how to navigate it. So, but I welcome you to still put those questions in the chat. We've had some interesting situations where others help to answer them, because often the people in the audience have different levels of knowledge. So there we go. I'm going to just stop sharing my screen once more. I'm going to jump to the tool, and you're welcome to join along as well. I think Shireen's probably put the link in the chat, or she will, and you're welcome to join and watch at the same time. All right. So here it is. This is the home page of the Benefits Wayfinder. Now, I've already opened it today. Otherwise, if I first opened it, it would have actually asked me what province I'm in. So you'll see up at the top corner, it's all the list of provinces, but it already asked me, so I already selected Ontario since I'm in Toronto. So this is the home page, and you can see that we have three different ways to access the benefits. We have starting points, a questionnaire, and browse all benefits. So we're going to be focusing on the first two today, which is starting points and the questionnaire, and then you're going to have a chance to explore them using both of these. All right. Before I jump in, though, I just want to I want you to know a few important things. First of all, a lot of clients are nervous about sharing their personal information, of course, and I want you to be reassured that the information that they input is not stored. Okay, so if this is the case and the person's just really not comfortable, then you might not want to use the questionnaire. You could use the starting points or the browse all benefits. If you're using the questionnaire, which I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment, you don't have to answer every question. You do have the ability to skip, but the more questions you answer, the more specific the benefit recommendations will be. Okay, so as you answer more questions, benefits aren't going to be removed, but the dashboard but they will be added. You'll get a more robust list of benefits based on how you answer the questions. Please know that you can move back and forth. So if somebody's made an error or you want to go back and change your answer, you can review them all before you press submit as well. And if you're completing the questionnaire for a participant who's approaching that change of life event that we talked about, so maybe they're about to have a child and they want to learn about all the benefits that might be available to them, enter the information as if they're already experiencing it, and this will give you more accurate suggestions. Okay, so like another example would be if you're approaching retirement, so you might want to put yourself as a senior or somebody retiring. All right, let's do the questionnaire together. And I'm just going to randomly sort of answer the questions today based on some of the types of clients that I know people are seeing. So are you up to date on filing your taxes? I'm going to say no, because often that's not the case. How old are you? I'm going to ask our age range, because that's going to affect the benefits. Their citizenship or immigration status. Okay, so let's say they're an immigrant. Are you working? So again, lots of different examples here. So maybe this person's not working right now. So living on a low income. So again, taking a note that they're asking how much money does everyone in the household together make in 1 year? How many people live in your home? Do you care for any children under 18 years of age? Are you or is anyone in your household living with a disability? Where do you live? Are you renting, social housing, all those, okay? Are you pregnant or expecting a child? Your length of stay in Canada since age 18. Are you, your parent, or your spouse a Canadian veteran? Do you have a parent or spouse who had lived in Canada and passed away? And then I can preview. So as I said, you can go through all of your answers to the questions before, and you can go and edit them if you'd like, if you've made an error. So you check everything over, and then you scroll down. I don't want to go too fast to make people dizzy. And you hit submit. Okay. And so in this situation, we have a lot of recommended benefits. In some situations, in fact, I was playing with it earlier today, and there was only 4 recommended benefits, right? Because I chose very different things. So the dashboard will vary depending on how you answer the survey. Okay. Oops, I'm going to go back up to the top. Should have gone to the dashboard. There we go. Okay. So again, they just have a little bit here. Of course, you found some benefits that you might be eligible for based on it, but you still have to do a little bit of searching, right? You still have to do a little bit of a deeper dive. And we're going to go through how you can start to organize and review everything on the dashboard. Okay. So there are sub lists on the dashboard that you can review the benefits, and you can mark things as, I'll show you, you can mark it as seen if it's something you've already looked at. You can sort them in different ways, so priority, alphabetically, whether or not tax filing is required, or whether you apply when you're filling in your taxes, or whether you need to file taxes and apply separately. Okay, so you can see here that 16 of the 40, you don't need to file tax, and the other 22, you do. Okay, so they sort them in different ways. On the left-hand side here, again, you can click on things that you already are receiving, and it'll remove it from the list. If you remove something, you can always put it back as well. Okay. As you can see, it'll tell you whether or not it's a complex or easy application process. And it's also going to tell you all of the different types of identification that's required. Again, you can prioritize it, low, medium, or high. Here's one of the tags. You can add it to what I'm already receiving. I don't need to look at this. Okay, and then let's take a look at an example of what you'll see when you click on the benefit. So when you click on it, you're going to get a lot of detailed information. So for example, you always have the link to the actual government website, and you can go and take a look at that and get more details. Okay, you've got a little bit about eligibility, so you can click on how do I know if I'm eligible for this benefit, the types of identification that is required, and how to apply. Okay, I think one of the biggest things we've received in terms of feedback on the Benefits Wayfinder is that it brings everything in one place. So all of these benefits, all of this information, of course, is accessible, right? We have all of the government websites, or the federal, provincial, has all of this information, but we've tried to simplify it. We've tried to use plain language. And of course, it's that putting it all in one place. So it's easy for you to navigate and find. Okay. All right. So I'm going to now share a couple other things before I go to starting points. You can save your session, of course, and you can email that to yourself or to someone else. You can send a copy of the URL, and you're going to want to do this before you clear the session, or otherwise you'll lose what you did. But for some that maybe aren't as comfortable with digital, maybe they have a lower level of digital literacy. If you're working with them, you can save it as a PDF and you can actually print it out for them as well. Okay, and then what you want to make sure that you do afterwards is clear the session so that it's ready for the next person. Okay, again, if there's any questions, please just put them in the chat, but you're going to get a chance to play with it very soon if you're not already following along. All right. So the next way of looking at the benefits is by starting points. Okay, and starting points, we talked about those life milestones. Maybe somebody's transitioning, right? So all of a sudden, maybe they're thinking about retiring. So I can go take a look at all of the benefits that a senior would be eligible for. Okay, and they may fit into more than one category. So you're going to want to play around. So maybe they're a senior, and they're also seeking some housing support. Okay, so you can play around, and then of course you can tag it if you're interested. Again, you can tag it if it's something that you're already receiving, and then you can just go in and take a look at some of those details. Okay, and of course you can still print those out for yourself as well. Okay, all right. So again, a lot of times they're just not aware that there's all of these benefits that they're eligible for. This is especially common with some of the disability benefits. And although we don't get into it today, we also have the Disability Benefits Compass that is linked to the Benefits Wayfinder that takes you into more detail about how to access disability benefits as well. Okay. There's also the third way of browsing through is just to browse all benefits. So maybe there's a particular benefit that you've heard about that you want to learn more about. You can just type it in and search, or you can do it using some of the filters here. So maybe I'm working with somebody who's living in Nova Scotia. All right. And again, you've got everything then that's eligible for people living in that province. You could do it, you could tag it. I want resources that Indigenous people are eligible for. We are actually working to improve some of the benefits that we have on here in terms of making sure we've got all of those that are available to Indigenous communities. So that's one of the projects we're currently working on to improve the site. We're always improving the site, by the way. We're always trying to change and make sure that everything's up to date. So as you're using it, if there's ever any kinds of suggestions that you have, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we do go through every 6 months, we do a full review of all of the benefits to make sure that everything is up to date, because that's really important. You want people to make sure they're getting accurate information. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing now. We're going to go back to our presentation. I know you're probably tired of listening to me. So we're going to get you moving and grooving here. And we're going to give you an activity to do. All right. So now that we've learned how to start the conversation about benefits, I've given you a quick overview on how to navigate the tool and how to use it in different situations. It's your turn. So you're going to practice using the Benefits Wayfinder, and I want you to try to find benefits that your clients might be eligible for based on their personal circumstances. So this is a really informal activity. We're going to use some personas, and you're going to be doing this on your own. So just in a safe environment, and I really encourage you to create your own persona if you want as well, right? Like maybe this persona that I share with you is not the kind of client that you normally serve, so feel free to explore it based on that, okay? So here's the first person that we're going to explore. His name is Sergio, and let's review it as a large group. Sharmeen will also share a bit more detailed handout for you in the chat. But we have Sergio, who is a newcomer to Canada. He's a temporary resident. He lives in Fergus, Ontario. He's renting. His income level is $40,000 a year. He's full-time working as a chef, but he's not filed Canadian taxes before. Okay, so when you view the handout, you'll discover a little bit more about Sergio as well, and what maybe, for example, what he wants to save for. Okay, and then what I'm going to have you do on your own, I want you to use the benefits wayfinder and search for benefits for Sergio. Okay, and what we're going to do for this one is use the questionnaire on the benefits wayfinder. So you'll see at the top of this slide, I've got it circled in red, that questionnaire that we just went through. Okay, I know that Shermeen's probably provided the link already. Thank you, Shermeen. So you're going to open your browser, go to the tool, and then read the persona. And then I want you to take 5 or so minutes to use the benefits wayfinder and discover some of the benefits that Sergio is eligible for. And keep track of them, because when we come back together in a group, we're going to put them on we'll use the Mentimeter again to share some of the benefits that you found. So I'm going to give you I think how are we doing for time, Shereen? Can we give them about 7 to 10 minutes, or?
Let's go with 10 for this one, and maybe the next one we can do shorter.
The next one's usually a bit shorter. Yeah, so let's give you 10 minutes. I'm going to just turn off my camera. I'm going to take a look at the chat, see if there's anything I need to address as well. And then we'll meet back. It's at 1:54. So we'll see you. Good luck. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Some great activity in the chat, and I can tell that people have been finding some benefits for Sergio. It's okay if some people find more or less. It really is just some subtleties on how you answer the questionnaire, and that's okay. So, what I'd love for you to do right now is to use our Mentimeter again. I'm going to share my screen, and we can go to the Mentimeter, and you can share some of the benefits. There we go. Can you see that? No? Okay, sorry about that. I've moved things around while I was, there we go. How about now? Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so let's see. Just gives an idea of the different things that we found. So yeah, you might be the dental care. Yeah, the new dental care plan we're hearing more and more about. Ontario Works maybe. Oh, you're putting the numbers. Okay, great. I'm wondering if people could put some of the actual benefits. It's great to see the types of benefits. But yeah, we're getting, of course, different amounts of numbers. Yeah, there's quite a few that he was eligible for. Again, like you saw in the demo, I got 40 on the dashboard. Okay, electricity support. There's a couple of the examples. That's great. That's good. Oh, I know. I wanted to address in the chat while we were doing it, there was some conversation around, what constitutes low income. And of course, there are specific measures that we have, LICO and all those different things. But what's important is just, you can do this tool with anyone. Like it doesn't, you don't have to be low income by any means. It's just you're probably going to find a lot more if the individual is low income. And as I mentioned in my response is that it can depend on the benefit, of course, right? It depends on the province and the benefit. So it's just a worthwhile activity. And if you think back to those questions that I asked, I mean, if the person is struggling, right, if they're having trouble making ends meet, it's worth it to take a look. Maybe there's something that they can access. If they are coming up to a change in their life and they're worried about finances and how it's going to impact them, let's take a look. Let's see if there's anything that you're eligible for. Okay. All right. Oh, now we're getting all kinds. Fantastic. Climate action, Canada Workers Benefit. What else? We got healthy smiles, resettlement assistance. Fantastic. So lots of great benefits. All right. I'm going to stop sharing once more my Mentimeter, go back to our presentation, and you have another activity to do. I'm making you work hard today. Okay. So we have another persona. And in this situation, we are going to use the starting points to see what benefits we can find for Rabia. So Rabia is 19. She is a citizen in Canada. So the reason I did that is, sorry, and the place of residence is any town in Canada. And the reason I did that is because I want you to maybe, depending on what province you live in, why don't you pick a province based on where you work. But this person's income level is $23,000 a year, working part-time as a server, has been eligible for 1 year, but did not file tax last year. Okay, so you're going to, I'll jump on to the next slide here. Remember up at the top, you have starting points. I've circled it there. So go to the benefits Wayfinder and use the starting points and see if you can answer those questions. I think people like me to leave the persona up there so that they can see it. And again, Sharmeen will provide the handout in the chat, which will give you a little bit more detail on Rabia and maybe some of her financial goals and a bit more of her background, which might help you to think more about the types of things that she may be eligible for. Okay, so how about 5 minutes, Sharmeen? Do we have a little less time probably, right?
No, actually, we're doing okay for time. We can have a little more time if you want.
All right. All right. So let's go for do about 7 minutes then, and maybe that way we'll have a bit more time at the end for some questions and things as well. So we'll come back here at 2:05. All right. Good luck, everyone. Hi, everyone. I see some of you have already moved on in the Mentimeter because I did forward it. So I'm seeing some responses already, which is fantastic. Um, I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to put the Mentimeter back up there. And you're welcome to share some of the benefits that you found that Rabia was eligible for. So just a moment here. All right. So we've got things like the climate action incentive, emergency assistance. Oh, somebody's got a whole list here. Great. Tax benefits. So again, this may vary depending on the province that you selected, right? Because I gave you a little bit of flexibility here to try different provinces, but some of you obviously chose Ontario still. That's just fine, depending on where you're residing. So there'll be the federal benefits, there'll be provincial benefits, lots of differences. The main thing is I know that when you do a list on the dashboard of the recommendations, it still doesn't mean they're eligible for all of those. You still have to do a little bit of digging. Just acknowledge that, what we prefer to do is to have more provided than less. In other words, sometimes it's hard to know the details of a person's situation, and therefore we're better to err on the side of more than less so that they get a bigger list and then they can do a little bit of due diligence and explore a little bit deeper to see what they're actually eligible for. So thank you for sharing all of these responses. These are great. Okay. I'm actually curious. I would love to find out which method you prefer. Okay, they both have their pros and cons, obviously, but let's just do a really quick poll here. And if you can share, what did you prefer, using the questionnaire or the starting points? Yeah, that's what we usually get. The questionnaire is really great because it does, it does filter things out in a way that's really helpful to be able to navigate the conversation a little bit. But, as we said at the beginning, there's just some people that maybe aren't comfortable with that, with putting all of that information in. They might sort of distrust that putting things online, and therefore the starting points is another great way. A lot of staff use this tool as a way of training for their staff around benefits. So, it would starting points would be a really great way in that case. So if you were working with a particular population and you wanted to learn more about the benefits that that population is eligible for, you could use the starting points for that. All right, great. I'm going to stop sharing and go back to my presentation here. All right. So now I just want to switch gears again and tell you about some of the other resources that are available to you. I did highlight some of these, but I might even jump back. We've got the links here. I might jump back and show you some of these other sections as well, because I think we've got a little bit of time. And just a reminder that we will share these slides with you at the end, so you'll have all of these links. So depending on an individual's needs and their situation, sometimes it's in their best interest to refer a client to another organization or service that can provide a more specialized support. So this might include things like tax filing clinic. So if you identify they haven't filed their taxes and they need support with that, maybe you refer them there. Maybe they don't have all of the identification that they need to apply for the benefit, so they need to go to an ID clinic or other community support or advocacy. So it's really a great idea to build a referral network of trusted individuals and organizations who can offer that kind of support. So on the Benefits Wayfinder, there are a couple of resources to help you find these referrals. So we have the help section, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. And there's also an agency portal on the Benefits Wayfinder. The agency portal is a list of agencies that help with access to benefits. So if your agency is not on the list and you do help support, we would love to add you to this list. So please reach out and let us know. We also have some tip sheets on client intake and triage and referrals. And we also have a benefits support guide, which kind of digs in a little bit deeper to some of the content that we've talked about today. So it's a great resource for you to have. It covers a lot of what we explored, but a little bit more as well. So let me just try, let me jump to our help section here. You can see it, I hope, okay? All right. So in our help section, there's,
Sorry,
here's all of the
Jenny,
different, yeah. Oh,
we don't see the help section. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. My apologies. Yay, thank you. All right, so here's the help section, right? We can access up here. And this is where you can find some tutorials. So there's some videos. There is the video tutorial with ASL included as well on how to use this tool. All right, we have the link to the Disability Benefits Compass, which has a very similar look and feel, but goes in a little bit deeper in terms of the disability benefits and how to navigate it, which can be quite difficult. We have all the different agencies that are supportive of. These are ones in Nova Scotia. So again, I can change it based on the province that I'm in. Okay, and then the agency portal also links to a new tool that we have called Bridge to Benefits. Bridge to Benefits is a bit of a precursor to all of this, and it's been created with the help of our amazing partners. We have benefit navigation champions, we call them, who work in this area and have immense knowledge of all of these benefits, and they have shared some of their best practices. So if you're an organization that's new to this and you're thinking, I really want to be able to provide these kinds of services, the Bridge to Benefits gives you all kinds of information on how you can get started. So we do have some recorded demos and webinars on that on our website as well. You can also get additional training on how to support benefits access. So we have some different courses as well. One's called the Foundation of Access to Benefits that you can register for. We've got some other resources here, some action plans. There's some other toolkits and worksheets that you can use. We even have a list of some of the key benefits. There's always, those very common benefits that lots of people are eligible for. So that's something that you can print out and provide to clients. We have a new online tool that we've done webinars on before as well called Making the Most of Your Money. And of course, we have lots of different resources on our website, on our Learning Hub, things like managing in tough times. Okay, we talked about, finding different organizations that you might be able to refer to. And we really, really do encourage you to share this tool with others. We're trying to spread the word so that we hope that more and more people can get access to it. Okay, so lots of different things here. All right. Go back to my, lots of back and forth today. Not asking me to resume. That's not nice. Hold on. There we go. Oh, okay. Decided not to let me go back. Bear with me. I have to. How I can get there faster. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So I showed you. Can you see the slide okay, Shameen? Yeah. Okay. So I showed you a little bit about the Bridge to Benefits. All of these links will be provided to you in the handout that we're going to share with you. I already talked a little bit briefly about making the most of your money, the online course, which is, again, a newer course that we've created. Sharmeen shared the link there as well. It's also downloadable into a PDF form. We have other types of resources like investing with interest. We have lots of great booklets and worksheets that you can download around financial literacy. And we also have a course. So if you're looking to provide financial literacy training, we have Financial Literacy for Facilitators, a very extensive online course. And if you are interested in having a demo of the Benefits Wayfinder or the Bridge to Benefits tool for your organization, maybe you've got a group of staff or an association, we're always happy to do that as well. One of the exciting things that we've got for you this month is we're providing free access to one of the modules on our Financial Literacy for Facilitators course, and that's Module 3 on budgeting. So you can actually go in and get a little taste of how our course works, and it provides you with lots of different resources that you can share with clients around budgeting, which of course is one of the foundations for financial literacy, getting people to start with a budget. All right, Bill, in a moment, we're going to open up the floor if people do have additional questions. But before I wrap up, let's take a look at the chat, see if there's any questions. If you want to vocalize, if you want to raise your hand, we can unmute you if that's easier. Let us know, and we can offer some questions as well. But I'll just quickly review that as frontline workers, you guys have a really unique opportunity to support people with access to benefits. So you remember to assess the setting that you and the individual are in, right? So you want to consider using one of the conversation pathways that we talked about to bring up the topic of benefits, and you want to look for those opportunities to ask those 3 screening questions, right? And finally, the Benefits Wayfinder can be used in different ways, and you can identify and organize benefits that an individual might be eligible for depending on what they're most comfortable sharing or using. All right, and I want to thank you for joining us today. And we're not done yet. We've got some time. I always like to make sure we have some time for questions. But I just wanted to, for those in case people do want to sign off, we really hope that you enjoyed and learned how you can better use this tool with your clients. We really encourage your feedback on today's session. We do sincerely apologize for not getting the notice about wanting to have ASL. That's on me, and I apologize profusely. So we'll circle back on that, and we will make sure that if you'd like to join us again, we can have that provided in our next one. We do this quarterly, by the way. So please provide some feedback for us. We're always looking to improve. And we just wanted to, of course, just acknowledge the Benefits Wayfinder was developed by us, but sponsored by TD Bank, supported by the Maple Leaf Center for Action on Food Security. So we really appreciate their support on this. And we thank you so much for the time that you've shared with us today and all of your contributions. And we're going to stay on, and we're going to take a look at the chat and see if there's any questions. And we're also, as I said, if you'd like to raise hands and you want to vocalize, it's a great opportunity to ask some questions. All right, thank you. And don't hesitate, you can also email us if you have questions. You go away and think of one later. I'll put my email up here as well on the next slide. We encourage you to follow us. We've got lots of ways that we try to keep people informed. We have newsletters. We have a learning hub that sends out a digest with new tools and resources. So, jump on board and keep track of all of the things that we're doing, because we're always trying to share all of the things that we're doing with our partners and communities.